And joining us now, Republican Senator Bill Cassidy. Senator, welcome back to Fox News Sunday.
Thank you for having me.
You voted, along with all of your Republican colleagues in the Senate, against the Democrats' $1.9 trillion bill. According to the White House, well, you tweeted this: less than 10% of President Biden's spending package is actually related to COVID relief. Senator, what's your basis for saying that? Less than 10% of the bill.
If you look at that, which is related to the COVID, by the way, I have to dispute a little bit David's presentation. The White House never reached out seriously to Republicans. We had no input into actually what transpired. Now, if you look at the things in that package, $130 billion for education. Sounds great. CBO says the amount of money already allocated towards education is so much it can't be spent this year. The money that is there for education will be spent in the out years. That's not related to COVID. If everybody is vaccinated by June, then it's clearly not related to COVID. There is $350 billion for state and local government. California is getting $41 billion, and California has had record tax receipts. Record tax receipts. That $41 billion is not related to COVID. It's related to kind of helping a blue state. Those are the things I'm speaking of.
All right, but let's talk about other aspects of the package, because as you well know, this pandemic is not just a public health crisis, it's also an economic crisis. And according to the White House, stimulus payments will go to 91% of the adults in your state of Louisiana and 93% of the children. And the child tax credit will go to the families of 1 million kids in Louisiana. Senator, are you saying the people of your state don't need that money?
First, let me say Republicans offered an alternative which included that sort of money for the people who needed it. So yes, economic help was needed for families as well as for businesses. We're on board with that. You would have had bipartisan support for that. But you know what it also includes? It includes $1.9 billion to give stimulus checks to inmates. Now, inmates are already paid for by the taxpayer. They can't stimulate the economy unless they're purchasing contraband. So here we have $1.9 billion stimulus checks going to inmates. I put up an amendment to strike that, and it was unanimously opposed by Democrats. That's the sort of thing which should not be included.
But you would agree, hundreds of billions of dollars go in economic stimulus to people and to businesses that have been hit hard by this pandemic.
Yes, I agree with that. Now let's put that in perspective. The payroll protection plan money that was put in the December bill is adequate for the time being. The additional money isn't so much for now, it is for going further out, except there are some groups in which they specifically target those which are politically favored. And so the dollars are there now for the need which is there now. A lot of this money is actually for the out period. Let me say one more thing. The economy is recovering. It is estimated by CBO that our economy will grow at 4.2% this year without this latest package, and that the additional stimulus through this package is estimated by some liberal economists it may ignite inflation. There's a danger here, Chris. The danger to that same middle-income family we're concerned about, that their savings evaporate because inflation is turned on. That's not me. That's people like Larry Summers and Jason Furman.
Well, I'm going to be asking Senator Murphy about just exactly that in the next segment. But let me come at this one last way. President Biden is going to be traveling around the country in the next few weeks saying things like this.
It provides food and nutrition, keeps families in their homes, and it will cut child poverty in this country in half.
He and other Democrats are going to say, look, back in 2017, Republicans and President Trump passed big tax cuts to benefit corporations and the wealthy. We, the Democrats, he's going to say, are taking care of working class people.
So first, let's look at the Trump economy, if you will, in which there was record employment for those without a high school education, for high school dropouts, for the disabled, for veterans, for African Americans, Hispanics, women, fill in the blank, record employment. Now, that was the sort of economy that resulted from the Trump tax cuts. Indeed, the last time I was on with you, you had somebody from President Biden's Economic Council saying they wanted to return to the economy pre-COVID. He kind of caught himself because that was the Republican Senate and the Trump economy. Now they're trying to do it by just pumping dollars in. It may work, or it may ignite inflation, which pulls down somebody into a vortex of losing their savings. We'll see. Is it better to let people keep their own money, or is it better to take it from them and give it back? That's the difference between the two parties.
Meanwhile, there is another crisis, an immigration crisis on our southern border. Last month, the largest number of unaccompanied minors was apprehended at the border, 9,400 since May of 2019. That was a 171% increase, February of 2021 over February of 2020. How much responsibility, Senator, do you think President Biden and his change in policies in these first 50 days, how much responsibility does he bear for the surge at the border?
Empirically, it is entirely. You can't help but notice that the administration changes and there's a surge. I saw one of his advisors said in Spanish, la frontera no está cerrada, which means the border is not closed. And then in English, she said, oh, she misspoke, it is. I can tell you the Spanish version is being heard, not the English. And that's being reported in national newspapers as well. And so when people think they can get in, they begin sending their unaccompanied child on a train ride across Mexico where she may be kidnapped and trafficked on the hope that they're going to be waved through at the border. This policy is leading to this surge. That is unmistakable.
The headlines this morning are that the Biden administration is going to send FEMA officials to the border to help with the handling of the unaccompanied minors. Will that make a difference? And what does the Biden administration need to do to get a handle on this situation?
First, the fact they're sending FEMA tells us that the 170% they anticipate growing to 350% or even a higher number. They're sending FEMA as reinforcements, not for today, not for tomorrow, but for 3 weeks from now. And what is clear, there can be no equivocation when sending a message to people who are thinking of joining a caravan. It has to be our border is closed. You can't say in Spanish one thing and in English another, one for the consumption of those in Central America and the other for domestic consumption. It has to be the same message. They're not doing that.
Senator Cassidy, thank you. Thanks for your time this week, and it's always good to talk with you, sir.
Thank you, Chris.